The news hit like a thunderclap. Just as the recording light flickered on, reports broke that the Raiders had cut linebacker Germaine Pratt. For a fan base already on edge, it was another twist in a season full of contradictions. The decision sent ripples across Raider Nation, and suddenly, what was meant to be a routine breakdown turned into a postmortem on roster decisions, quarterback play, and the identity crisis consuming this team. But before diving into Pratt's abrupt exit, there was something else gnawing at the edges of the conversation. A press conference comment from Geno Smith that, at first, sounded harmless, maybe even motivational. Yet the more it sat, the stranger it became. Geno's comparison between himself and Jared Goff wasn't just misguided. It was revealing. He spoke with confidence, trying to sound measured, explaining that improvement is a process, that he's working to be better for his teammates, and that sometimes results take time to reflect progress. He pointed to Jared Goff's journey from the Rams to the Lions, saying Detroit started slow and eventually built something strong. The message sounded familiar. Trust the process, stay patient, good things take time. But when you peel back the layers, Geno's comment fell apart under its own weight. Because unlike Goff, Geno isn't walking into a rebuild. And the Raiders, despite their flaws, aren't the 2021 Lions starting from scratch. Jared Goff arrived in Detroit with a Super Bowl appearance under his belt and multiple division titles. Geno, while experienced, doesn't carry that resume. Goff joined a team that was stripped down to the studs, where talent was scarce and expectations were microscopic. Dan Campbell could afford to lose 10 straight because everyone knew he was laying bricks for something long-term. Geno, on the other hand, is walking into a team built to compete now. A roster with a legitimate core, led by names like Max Crosby, Colton Miller, Jakobi Meyers, and new blood like Brock Bowers. This isn't a rebuild disguised as development. This is a team trying to win right now. The moment Geno spoke that comparison into existence, it stopped feeling like perspective and started sounding like a shield. A way to deflect criticism. The problem with invoking the Lions as a comparison is that it rewrites history. The Rams didn't just move on from Goff, they paid a king's ransom to get rid of him. They attached multiple first-round picks just to unload his contract. For a player like Geno, still trying to stabilize his position and prove he's the answer in a franchise that's been searching for one for years, that's not exactly the company you want to keep. To be fair, both the Rams and Lions eventually came out on top. Stafford got his ring. Goff revitalized his career and turned Detroit into a contender. But for Geno, this isn't the same climb. He isn't trying to resurrect a franchise. He's trying to justify why a team with playoff-level talent is underperforming under his leadership. The Raiders weren't sold to fans as a work in progress. Pete Carroll himself, in his Monday presser, said it best, "We didn't come here to develop. We came here to win." And if this truly were a rebuild, Aidan O'Connell would have been under center from day one. Instead, the front office went out and traded assets for Geno, betting on immediate returns. That's not a rebuild. That's a franchise swinging for results. The irony is brutal. The Seahawks, the team that once had Geno, are thriving without him. 3-2, smooth offense, better rhythm, and without a receiver like DK Metcalf for a stretch. Meanwhile, the Raiders, who gave Geno weapons like Brock Bowers, Jakobi Meyers, and solid protection up front, are sputtering. Even accounting for the injuries and shuffling on the offensive line, turnovers have been the anchor pulling this team down. Interceptions, fumbles, and bad reads in the most crucial moments. The kind of mistakes that make fans flinch before the ball even leaves his hand. And while Geno's demeanor at the microphone has often been composed and polished, fans can feel the gap between the words and the play. Saying, "Put it all on me," sounds accountable, until it starts feeling like an empty performance. Nobody's asking him to carry special teams or fix the defense. They just want him to stop throwing the ball to the wrong jersey. The frustration isn't about tone. It's about trust. Then came the second headline of the day. Germaine Pratt's release. Quick, sudden, suspiciously timed. He hadn't traveled with the team to Indianapolis, and within hours, he was gone. Officially, the Raiders called it a depth move, but the speed of it told a deeper story. Something wasn't fitting. Pratt's role never looked fully defined, constantly pulled between inside linebacker duties and edge responsibilities that didn't suit his natural instincts. When a veteran feels misused or sees the writing on the wall, things unravel fast. The replacement came quietly but strategically. The Raiders signed Jon Radigan off the Steelers' practice squad, a steady tackler known more for reliability than flash, a special teams grinder, an assignment-sound player who doesn't blow coverages or miss open field tackles. It wasn't a headline grabber, but it was a message. The organization is done giving away games through chaos. They're tightening the bolts, cleaning up the small things that snowball into collapses. Still, the cracks go deeper than special teams. The scheme itself is starting to raise eyebrows. The defense has been caught in static one-high coverages, soft zones, and predictable drop looks that modern offenses feast on. Teams are chewing up 8 to 10 yards at a time, methodically bleeding the Raiders downfield. The explosive plays that once defined this defense are disappearing. And part of that blame falls on how Max Crosby is being used. Once a terror off the edge, he's been asked to play tighter, head up alignments that stifle his first step. When you shorten his runway, you take away his chaos, and chaos is his greatest weapon. The offense, meanwhile, is battling its own identity issues. Personnel choices have been baffling. Dante Thornton kept getting reps early despite struggling with contested catches, while steadier hands like Jack Beck sat waiting. When Beck finally got his shot, the offense immediately looked cleaner, more stable. On the line, Jackson Powers Johnson, arguably one of their best blockers, sat out because of a practice limitation, despite being fully healthy. It's these small, questionable choices that make fans wonder if the coaching staff is overthinking itself out of wins. So now, the Raiders find themselves at a crossroads again. The quarterback speaks like a veteran trying to inspire patience, but his play screams panic. The defense has elite pieces misaligned, and the roster moves feel more reactive than planned. And yet, there's still a heartbeat here, a core worth believing in. The foundation isn't broken, it's confused. Jon Radigan won't save the season, but he represents something the Raiders desperately need: control. Cleaner special teams, sharper discipline, fewer free yards. The Titans are next, and if Radigan can help patch even a few of those costly special teams gaps, that's a quiet victory. Sometimes, it's not about the highlight plays. It's about stopping the bleeding. In the end, Geno's comments about Jared Goff might have been well-intentioned, but they expose something bigger: a quarterback searching for validation instead of control. Goff's Lions didn't turn around because they wanted to believe in a process. They turned around because they built one that worked. Geno's Raiders need to do the same. Enough talk. Enough comparisons. It's time to prove it on the field. And as for Germaine Pratt's release, it's a reminder that in the NFL, patience has a clock. You either fit the system, or you're gone before the next practice. The Raiders have made their move. Now the rest of the season depends on whether this roster can match the urgency their front office just showed. So Raider Nation, what do you think? Was cutting Germaine Pratt the right move, or did the team just lose a valuable veteran presence? And is Geno Smith's comparison to Jared Goff a fair perspective or a desperate deflection? Let us know your thoughts down below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update from the NFL Playbook Raiders. The road ahead is getting rough, but the story's far from over, and you won't want to miss what happens next.